I've moved 8 times in my life, so it's always been hard for me to make connections with people. I'm really shy. Growing up, I spent my summers driving around the country, home to Bozeman, Montana, or relocating. I hate settling into new places and the discomfort that comes with being an outsider. But I've discovered that the only time I feel comfortable in these new places is when I'm taking pictures. When I look at my environment through a camera lens, I can connect. This semester, I decided to use my camera to combat my feelings of discomfort as a Colby student in the Waterville community. I love capturing personalities in portraits. I'm good at it. But instead of capturing the personalities of my friends and loved ones, I turned to the people in this community. I've been going around town asking individuals if I can take their photograph. These are my results. Hi, excuse me? My name is Isabel, and I'm a photo student at Colby. Would it be okay if I took a picture of you for a project? I asked this question to every person I photographed, and I got a wide variety of responses. It's a flattering question, but it's also invasive. The subject of the picture is always more important than the picture, and more complicated. Diane Arbus, the famous portrait photographer. Her words resonated with me through this project, especially surrounding my place as a Colby student photographing these people, the subjects, my neighbors. It's complicated. People in Waterville don't smile at me as I walk down the street. I'm always struck by how the lack of smiling affects the mood of this town. It makes me feel sad. But by not smiling, these people are also being authentic, and I have come to appreciate that. When making a strong portrait, I don't want to get an image of someone grinning ear to ear. That's cheesy. When you smile for the camera, you're putting on a face that doesn't really show your personality. In order to capture strong photographs, I frequently asked people not to smile. It's usually their first instinct when I put a camera in front of them. Photography has a way of masking and unmasking different places, people, or moments. I don't want people to put on a mask or a smile, because then I can't make a connection with them. I can't capture an aspect of their personality. I did not use a digital camera for this project. I used a Mamiya C330. This camera was introduced in the 1970s, and it uses black and white film. I can't click a button and see what I've just captured. I finish a full roll of film, go develop it, scan the negatives, and then I can look at my pictures. This means that I'm thoughtful about framing these images and about capturing the exact moment that I want. I don't drastically alter these pictures. They're real. These photographs are all documentations of people in this community with whom I have made a connection. I really love what you can't see in a photograph. Again, Diane Arbus. I can capture an expression that tells us something about this person, but there's always more context, things you can't see. These photographs do not tell us everything about these people, but they allow us to guess. And I love that about photography. So I'm only here for 4 years. Honestly, I do not have an incentive to make Waterville a thriving college town. The dissonance between Colby students and the community around us is apparent. There are, understandably so, different opinions in the community about the nature of this gap, but I don't think that building nice buildings and requiring some students to do civic engagement will make the people who feel negatively towards Colby's relationship with Waterville change their minds. Colby's extreme wealth and privilege makes our campus an uncomfortable place for some people in this town. And funneling more money into the campus and downtown, I believe, will only make this discomfort grow. Opened in the fall of 2018, it is home to 200 Colby students, faculty, and staff who are deeply engaged in our city, while also serving and supporting a variety of business, civic, and community organizations. When I read this on Colby's Residential Life website, I laughed. I do not consider myself to be deeply engaged in this town. Sure, I go to restaurants downtown, but not more than I did when I lived on campus. The requirement that all student residents participate in 2 hours of civic engagement a week does not make me feel like an active member in this community. For me, my photo project has changed my experience in Waterville in a way that Colby's requirements never would. I'm more relaxed now. I used to feel uncomfortable, especially wearing Colby clothing around town. I felt like everyone knew that I went to Colby and they had already made an assumption about who I am and what I was going to be like. Now, I feel like I've interacted with enough people who live here that I don't feel as uncomfortable. You might expect me to say that everyone can feel at home here if they just put themselves out there, but I don't think that's true at all. I might feel more comfortable because of my project, but nothing has changed between Colby and Waterville. I still feel weird when I park my car with a huge Colby sticker on it in the concourse. I still wonder what it would be like to go to school in a town with a different student-community relationship. But this is where I am, and this is where you are. We are all here in this place together. I took this photograph in February, but just a few weeks ago, I saw these people walk into Selah-T, all three of them. I recognized them immediately, and I felt like I knew them, even though they didn't register who I was. I wanted them to recognize me. They didn't, and that's okay, but I felt like we had a connection. So I've come to the conclusion that these interactions I've been having with the people in Waterville provide an authentic representation of my relationship with this community. It's uncomfortable. But that's one thing that I love about photography. I've captured single moments in which these people and I had a relationship. Then it's over. Then we move on and walk our separate ways down Main Street. Thank you.